20 years old, a farming village near Gaza, a hillside in southern Lebanon. Staff Sergeant Negev Dagan came home in a coffin, and he won't be the last. As Hezbollah drones, mortars, and guided missiles pound Israeli positions night after night, one of the most feared armies on earth is doing something unthinkable, stretching nets over its own soldiers and praying. A young Israeli soldier is dead, killed in the hills of southern Lebanon by a Hezbollah mortar shell, as fighting along the border shows no sign of slowing. The IDF announced on May 15th that Staff Sergeant Negev Dagan, 20 years old, a combat soldier in the Golani Brigade's 12th Battalion, was killed the previous night in the Litani area of southern Lebanon. He was from Dekel, a farming community near the Gaza border. According to the Israeli media, medics worked to save him after he was struck, but his death was confirmed shortly after. Dagan is among a growing number of Israeli soldiers killed since major fighting with Hezbollah resumed in March, with dozens more wounded in what has become a grinding near-daily exchange across the border. Hezbollah pressed on through the night. In statements issued in the early hours of May 15th, the group announced a string of operations across southern Lebanon, targeting Israeli troops, armored vehicles, and military positions. Fighters detonated explosive devices near Al-Taiba, forcing Israeli soldiers to retreat under fire while military helicopters moved in to evacuate the wounded. 2 D9 bulldozers were destroyed in a separate strike near Hadatha. A Merkava tank advancing toward a targeted force was hit directly by a guided missile. Then came the drone footage.
The operations were carried out in defense of Lebanon and its people, in response to continued Israeli attacks on southern Lebanese villages and repeated ceasefire violations.
Video from the southern Lebanese border shows the moment a Hezbollah drone strikes an Israeli troop transport vehicle, a scene that has grown increasingly common as the group expands its aerial campaign against Israeli forces. The group has deployed FPV drones, guided missiles, and mortar fire with mounting regularity against Israeli military positions across the south. The IDF is now building cover. Soldiers across southern Lebanon have begun erecting large nets around their positions in a bid to intercept incoming drones before they reach their targets. The military confirmed it received 158,000 square meters of protective netting sourced specifically to counter the growing FPV drone threat. It is a telling image, one of the region's most formidable armies sheltering under nets, trying to stay one step ahead of what is coming from above. Will it stop the Hezbollah drones? Only time will tell. Three soldiers standing beside a tank heard a faint buzz. By the time they located the source, it was too late. The drone hit. 1 soldier died. 6 were wounded. The whole thing cost Hezbollah around $300. That exchange is now playing out repeatedly across southern Lebanon, where Hezbollah has built a drone program that Israel's multi-billion-dollar military machine has yet to answer. The drones are fiber-optic, not radio-controlled. That single detail changes everything. Electronic jamming, the standard countermeasure against drone attacks, does not work on them. Operators guide the explosives through live video feeds via cables stretching several kilometers, detonating on impact. Israel's Iron Dome cannot catch them. In some cases, soldiers have resorted to shooting at them with personal weapons. Each drone costs between $300 and $400 to manufacture, built using 3D printing and commercially available components. The program accelerated out of necessity. Hezbollah's own source explained why.
The development is viewed as part of efforts to overcome supply challenges following the disruption of the Syrian supply route after the fall of Bashar al-Assad in late 2024.
Cut off from its traditional supply lines, the group turned inward. Workshops across Lebanon now assemble the drones locally. Hezbollah studied the technology's battlefield performance in Ukraine, where fiber-optic FPV systems first appeared in late 2024 and adapted accordingly. Rob Lee, Senior Fellow at the Foreign Policy Research Institute, explained why countering them remains so difficult.
Fiber-optic cable FPVs can't be jammed with electronic warfare, and it is more difficult to detect them.
The drones have killed a bulldozer operator, bypassed the trophy defense system on Merkava tanks, and struck Israeli positions with growing regularity. Israel has assigned a senior officer specifically to find solutions. So far, soldiers are still looking at the sky and pointing their rifles at it. Retired Lebanese Brigadier General Munir Shahadeh offered the clearest summation of what Hezbollah is actually trying to accomplish.
The goal in guerrilla warfare is not a quick victory, but rather the gradual attrition of the enemy.
Hezbollah's media wing recently released drone footage intercut with imagery of a golden eagle hunting, titled "We Will Hunt You Down." It was not subtle. It was not meant to be. Israel has spent decades and billions of dollars building one of the most sophisticated air defense architectures in the world. Hezbollah found the gap in it, spooled some fiber-optic cable, and for $300 is making that architecture look very expensive indeed. A surface-to-air missile streaked towards an Israeli drone over southern Lebanon on May 12th, the latest sign that a ceasefire in name is doing little to quiet the guns on the ground. The Israeli military said the missile failed to hit its target, and no damage or injuries were reported. Shortly after, the Israeli Air Force struck a suspect seen fleeing the launch site on a motorcycle. It was not the only incident that day. The IDF said Hezbollah also launched several explosive drones at Israeli troops operating in southern Lebanon. The Air Force shot down what it described as additional apparent Hezbollah drones in the same area.
A short time ago, as part of an Air Force assistance operation for the combat forces in southern Lebanon, a failed launch attempt of a small ground-to-air missile was carried out toward an aircraft. In an additional incident earlier today, the terrorist organization Hezbollah launched several explosive drones toward IDF forces operating in southern Lebanon. There are no injuries to our forces.
The flare-up came as Hezbollah's leader took to the airwaves with a pointed message ahead of a third round of Lebanon-Israel talks scheduled in Washington later this week. In a written statement broadcast on the group's Al-Manar television channel, Naim Qassem said his group's weapons were off the table entirely and that no outside party had any say in the matter.
Nobody outside Lebanon has anything to do with the weapons, the resistance. This is an internal Lebanese matter and not part of negotiations with the enemy.
Qassem addressed the statement directly to Hezbollah fighters, and his tone left little room for ambiguity about the group's intentions on the ground.
We will not surrender, and we will continue to defend Lebanon and its people, however long it takes and however great the sacrifices. We will not abandon the battlefield, and we will turn it into hell for Israel.
The remarks land at a delicate moment. A ceasefire is nominally in place, yet drone exchanges and airstrikes have continued with little pause. Washington is pressing both sides toward a negotiated arrangement, while Hezbollah is signaling, publicly and loudly, that its military posture is not up for discussion. Whether Beirut's negotiators can square that position with what Israel and the United States are demanding in the coming days remains the central question hanging over Thursday's talks.